You're all welcome to today's news analysis. This is not noise. This is not rumor. This is real Nigerian politics happening right now. If you love clear political breakdown, smart analysis, and facts without fear, subscribe to this channel right now and turn on your notification bell so you don't miss what others will explain too late. Now let's get straight into it. Because something serious is happening inside the African Democratic Congress, ADC. Just days after meeting with Peter Obi, the party's state chairmen are now set to hold another critical meeting. This is not just any ordinary meeting, the kind parties hold once or twice a year. No. This is a strategic, high-stakes gathering where the future of the party, and potentially its influence in the 2027 elections, will be quietly, but firmly, discussed. The timing is telling. The meeting is taking place immediately after Obi's discussions with ADC leadership, a move that has raised eyebrows across the political spectrum. Observers are asking, why now? Why this urgent convening? And the answer is both simple and complicated: power, zoning, and strategy. Inside ADC, tensions are quietly simmering. State chairmen are the backbone of the party. They represent local politics, grassroots influence, and the organizational strength of ADC across Nigeria. When they gather, decisions are made that ripple far beyond the walls of their meeting rooms. And this time, the stakes are unusually high. It's no longer just about winning elections in a few states or building local structures. This is about the presidential ticket, national credibility, and the party's identity. The main issue, as insiders reveal, is zoning. For those unfamiliar, zoning is the political principle that alternates power between regions to ensure balance, representation, and fairness. Nigeria has a long history with zoning. Political expectations are strong, and breaking zoning unwisely can cause irreversible fractures within a party. ADC, a rising party trying to position itself as a credible alternative to the traditional powerhouses, cannot afford missteps, especially at this stage. Sources close to the party indicate that there is a growing divide among the state chairmen. Some believe that the party should stick to the principle of Southern leadership for the next election, arguing that the momentum for change is strongest in the South and that ignoring this principle could alienate key supporters. Others argue for a more flexible approach, suggesting that a northern candidate may have strategic advantages in building a national coalition. The tension is palpable, and this is exactly what makes the upcoming meeting so crucial. This is also about timing. ADC state chairmen understand the reality of Nigeria's political calendar. Presidential campaigns, party conventions, and primaries are all on the horizon. Decisions made today will shape the trajectory of ADC for the next 12 months and, in many ways, determine its viability as a national player in 2027. Delay or indecision could prove fatal, especially when opponents are already calculating, plotting, and positioning themselves. Furthermore, the meeting comes at a moment when the party is receiving national attention, partly due to Peter Obi's recent involvement. Obi represents the South, youth engagement, and a strong anti-status quo narrative. His discussions with ADC have placed additional pressure on the party leadership to make decisions that resonate with voters, particularly in the southern region, where support is critical. The state chairmen are acutely aware that any misstep could be interpreted as a lack of seriousness or, worse, internal chaos. It is important to understand that the role of these chairmen is not ceremonial. They hold influence over local party machinery, funding decisions, mobilization of supporters, and even shaping the narrative at both state and national levels. If the chairmen speak with one voice, the party moves cohesively. If they are divided, the party risks public perception of disunity, which could weaken its position before even entering the critical election year. At the heart of this gathering is a delicate balancing act. ADC wants to remain principled, sticking to regional expectations and the idea that power should rotate sensibly. At the same time, it wants to position itself as strategically competent, capable of winning elections across the country. State chairmen know that their decisions will either elevate ADC as a credible alternative or relegate it to the sidelines of national politics. So, what is happening right now is far from ordinary. It is the moment when decisions are being framed, alliances are being tested, and future strategies are being drafted. This is political theatre in its most serious form, without the noise of public statements or media leaks. It is about influence, negotiation, and foresight. By the end of this meeting, the party will have signalled its direction. Whether ADC will firmly support a southern candidate, honour the zoning principle, or entertain northern options, will depend heavily on the unity, conviction, and negotiation skills of its state chairman. And this is why Nigerians should pay attention. ADC may not yet be the largest party in Nigeria, but its moves, decisions, and internal debates reflect a broader battle for political balance, fairness, and the future of opposition politics in the country. The coming days are critical. This meeting will set the tone for ADC's national strategy, and everyone, from party insiders to political observers, is watching. In short, what is happening inside ADC is not a routine political exercise. It is a power decision, a directional meeting, and a test of principle and pragmatism, all rolled into one. And the decisions made here will echo far beyond party walls, shaping the opposition's ability to challenge the ruling party and influencing how Nigerians see ADC as a credible national force. Let's be honest with ourselves as Nigerians. Politics is never simple, and ADC is now facing one of the toughest decisions in its short history. The party is caught in a zoning dilemma that could determine its future, and this is not something that can be ignored. By principle, power is expected to remain in the south after the next election. The reasoning is straightforward. Tinubu, the current president, is from the south. And according to political convention, the south has already held the presidency. Zoning is supposed to ensure fairness. If the opposition wants to challenge effectively, it cannot ignore this reality. A northern candidate, at this point, risks violating both political expectations and public perception. The zoning debate is not new, but it is now urgent and unavoidable. Inside ADC, the discussions are heated. On one side, there are party leaders who insist that the presidential ticket must come from the south. They argue that southern leadership aligns with historical rotation, respects regional expectations, and maximizes the chance of winning voter confidence in key southern states. These leaders understand that political optics matter just as much as strategy. Voters notice when principles are ignored. On the other side, there are voices pushing for flexibility. They argue that the party should consider the candidate who can win nationally, regardless of region. This argument sounds reasonable on paper, but in practice, it comes with significant risks. Picking a northern candidate now could alienate southern supporters, particularly the youth, the urban middle class, and first-time voters, groups that ADC relies on heavily for momentum. This is where Peter Obi's recent involvement complicates things further. Obi, as a southern figure with strong grassroots support, represents more than just personal influence. He symbolizes the South's moral claim to leadership in this election cycle. His discussions with ADC have intensified expectations that the party will honor zoning. State chairmen feel the pressure because they now must navigate between political pragmatism and regional loyalty, all while keeping party unity intact. The stakes are enormous. A decision that ignores zoning could fracture the party, leading to internal rebellion, resignations, and public criticism. ADC has built its reputation as a party that listens to principles and respects regional balance. Breaking that trust now could undo years of grassroots work, undermine credibility, and diminish electoral appeal. Equally important, ignoring zoning could impact strategic alliances. Other opposition parties, regional stakeholders, and civil society organizations are watching ADC closely. If the party is seen as abandoning principle for convenience, these allies may hesitate to collaborate in future coalitions. In politics, perception can be as critical as policy, and ADC cannot afford to appear opportunistic. Timing is also critical. Elections are approaching, campaigns must be planned, and candidates need clarity. State chairmen know that delays in decision-making will weaken the party's preparation. Every day without clarity risks losing public confidence, fundraising opportunities, and grassroots engagement. Voters notice indecision, and opponents exploit it. In practical terms, zoning is not just a symbolic issue. It affects the party's candidate selection, campaign strategy, and national messaging. A Southern candidate resonates with the South, maintains internal consistency, and strengthens opposition narratives against the ruling party. A Northern candidate risks sending mixed signals, confusing supporters, and undermining the party's credibility. This is why the ADC meeting with state chairmen is so significant. They are not just discussing personalities, they are deciding the party's direction, electability, and adherence to political principle. Every conversation, every opinion, every negotiation in that room matters. It is a high-pressure environment, where loyalty, pragmatism, and vision collide. At the heart of this debate is the reality that ADC wants to be more than a minor party. It wants to be a credible national player capable of challenging Tinubu and the ruling party in 2027. But credibility cannot exist without strategic alignment with principle. Southern leadership is expected. Any decision that strays from this expectation will immediately raise questions about the party's judgment. State chairmen are aware of the moral, political, and strategic consequences. They understand that their choice will determine not just the next presidential candidate but the party's identity. Will ADC be a party that follows principle and earns trust, or a party that prioritizes convenience over credibility? This is the question at the center of the zoning debate. In short, zoning is not just a rule. It is a political compass, guiding ADC's next moves. It defines how the party relates to voters, how it positions itself against opponents, and how it navigates Nigeria's complex regional politics. Choosing wrong now could cost ADC more than a single election, it could define its long-term relevance. The next steps are clear. ADC state chairmen must reconcile internal pressures, respect zoning principles, and craft a strategy that maximizes national appeal. The balance between principle and pragmatism will determine whether ADC emerges stronger, more credible, and ready to challenge, or whether it stumbles at a critical moment in its history. Zoning is no longer just an idea. It is the defining issue for ADC in 2027. And how the party handles it will echo across Nigeria, shaping not only its own future but also the landscape of opposition politics as a whole. This meeting by the ADC state chairman is not just another political discussion. It is a decisive moment that could determine the party's direction for the 2027 elections. What happens in the coming days will shape not only who the party presents as a presidential candidate but also how Nigerians perceive the party itself. There are three critical areas this meeting could influence. First, ADC's credibility. A party that makes clear, principled decisions earns trust. A party that hesitates or makes controversial choices risks appearing weak or disorganized. If ADC chooses wisely, respecting zoning and aligning its strategy with voter expectations, it will strengthen its image as a serious national player. Conversely, ignoring zoning or forcing internal divisions could erode confidence among supporters, making it harder to rally the public when it counts most. Credibility is earned through decisions, not slogans. Second, ADC's national strength. State chairmen are not symbolic figures, they control the grassroots, mobilize supporters, and shape narratives across the country. How they act in this meeting will determine whether ADC enters 2027 united or divided. A party that presents a strong, united front can compete against larger, more established parties, even with fewer resources. A fragmented party risks losing momentum before campaigns even begin. National strength comes from unity, organization, and a clear sense of direction, all of which are being tested in this meeting. Third, ADC survival in 2027. Politics in Nigeria is ruthless. Elections are not just about ideas, they are about strategy, alliances, and timing. A misstep now could cost ADC more than a single election. It could define the party's position in Nigerian politics for years to come. If zoning is ignored, the party may lose key southern states. If internal conflicts escalate, it could fracture the party and drive voters away. Survival depends on getting the timing, principles, and strategy right, and the state chairmen are the ones holding the key. At the heart of all this is a delicate balance. ADC must navigate between principle and pragmatism. They must respect zoning while considering electoral strategy. They must unify the party while appealing to the public. This is not an easy task. Every decision carries consequences, both short-term and long-term. The Southern question is central. Nigeria's political reality cannot be ignored. The South expects to have influence, especially after Tinubu's presidency. Ignoring this expectation risks alienating a critical voting bloc. Peter Obi's engagement with ADC adds moral and political weight to the argument for Southern leadership. It is not just a question of principle, it is a question of strategy, optics, and public confidence. State chairmen must also consider internal dynamics. Every leader, every faction, every influential member has a voice. How these voices are reconciled will determine whether ADC moves forward united or divided. Internal unity is just as important as public messaging. A fractured party is easy to attack, slow to organize, and difficult to present as credible to voters. The state chairman's ability to navigate these dynamics will show whether ADC can operate like a serious national party or remains a collection of disconnected regional interests. Timing is critical. Decisions made in this meeting must be communicated quickly and clearly. Campaigns need direction, candidates need clarity, and supporters need assurance. Every day of uncertainty reduces confidence, slows momentum, and opens space for opponents to exploit divisions. The state chairmen are fully aware of this pressure. They know that the eyes of the nation are on them, watching how the party responds under tension. In practical terms, this meeting could set the tone for ADC's messaging, candidate selection, and national strategy. A clear decision respecting zoning would send a message of principle and strategy. A delayed or controversial decision could send a message of weakness or indecision. These are not minor considerations, they affect how voters perceive the party and whether it can compete effectively against established rivals. Ultimately, the outcome of this meeting will define ADC's path to 2027. Will it be a party that respects principle, maintains unity, and positions itself strategically? Or will it be a party distracted by internal disagreements, public pressure, and regional tensions? The stakes are high. The decisions made here will echo through every state, every campaign, and every voter's perception. Zoning is no longer theoretical. It is a political compass guiding the party through complex national realities. The ability of ADC state chairmen to navigate this moment with clarity, principle, and strategy could determine whether the party emerges stronger, more credible, and ready to challenge the ruling party, or whether it stumbles at a critical moment in its history. In the coming days, Nigerians will be watching closely. This is not just a party meeting. It is a test of principle, strategy, and leadership. The consequences will be far-reaching, the pressure immense, and the outcome decisive.